got Alyssa Orange with us on the Lewis Automotive Hotline. She is very well aware of the abbreviation for the Postal Service for the state of Arkansas, where the Fayetteville Regional will be played. But Alyssa, the NCAA still thinks that Fayetteville is located in Alaska, apparently.
Clear, I always wonder, who do you blame for that, right? Do you blame your graphics guy for that? And then if that's so, do you take it a step further and blame his geography teacher?
The teaching system, the school system. That's who.
What is this? I'm sorry. I got tested for capitals and states in 5th grade, and I can still probably ace that test. What are we doing?
Yeah, all it means is that the NCAA site reps will be showing up at a really cold ballpark, and nobody's going to be there when they get there. So,
no one will yell at them if they're up there.
Oh, yeah. Well, so this gets in. Look, the SEC has not had a good showing in the NCAA tournament. I mean, that's just from the results on the field. But then there's some of the other things that are going along with this, and it goes along with, look, the SEC is not looking very good when you're losing games and acting like a clown at the same time. You got Georgia practically playing half undressed, Tennessee always acting the way they do. I didn't see necessarily things from Ole Miss that was a big deal. But Kevin O'Sullivan, chewing out and dropping just massive amounts of F-bombs on people that are legendary coaches, that are site reps, and then his team doesn't make it into a regional final. I felt like the SEC looked bad, Alyssa, in terms of on-field performance and just the way some programs acted during the tournament.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. It's very shocking. Just the performance alone. I mean, I don't think anyone would have told you that Vandy and Texas weren't going to get out of their regional, and that UTSA would be the team that would come out of the Austin regional, and that Murray State would be the team that came out of the Oxford regional. And I put it out there. I was like, very questionable about the seedings this season. Of course, I'm a little biased because the team that I graduated from was a 9 seed and is having to go to Corvallis this weekend. But just overall, it felt really underwhelming from a performance standpoint in the SEC outside of teams like Arkansas. But even Tennessee had to kind of fight their way through their own regional to come to Fayetteville, and had to beat Wake Forest last night. And then you have what you had with Kevin O'Sullivan, and of course, that's just not great of a look. It's just not great in general. But I don't know what you were trying to accomplish there. Like, the game time was changed. They are not going to change it back just because you went on a little bit of a rant. That's where it's just like, those books back in the day, they were really popular, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Like, someone's got to get one of those books for Kevin O'Sullivan for Father's Day, because he needs to stop sweating the small stuff and stop overreacting.
Yeah, so I saw it, and I heard the account of it. The ECU, either a player or a student manager, that holds a whiteboard during the game, and O'Sullivan absolutely ripped into him as he's walking by the dugout. It's just, I don't know if it was a matter of you're just not used to being in the elimination game. That might have been a little part of it too. But aside from all of that, this Super Regional here in Fayetteville is the Super Regional that college baseball fans will want to have their eye on. Now, there's 7 others, and they're going to be entertaining, but this is the marquee Super Regional right here in Fayetteville, Alyssa. Everybody wanted to see Arkansas and Tennessee in the postseason at some point. We kind of thought it might happen in Omaha, but here it is. It's to get to Omaha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And not only that, you have Tony Vitello coming back again to Fayetteville, right, which is always a storyline. You have Tennessee coming back to Fayetteville, where they ended the regular season, and Arkansas won that series after taking games 2 and 3. You have the reigning national champions trying to get back to Omaha, right? You've got an Arkansas team that's one of the best in the country, if not the best team left in the regionals, in the Super Regional College World Series NCAA tournament. And, can they get back to Omaha? Can this be Dave's team that wins it finally for this program? I mean, there are so many storylines, and I think that you could easily say right now, and then call me again at the end of June and say the winner of this Super Regional wins the College World Series. both of these teams have really good talent, have themselves a bullpen that I think can take them the distance. I think Arkansas is stronger in that regard, but I think who comes out of this regional can win a College World Series. Maybe play that back for me at the end of June if I'm right. If not, just, throw it away. But I think that's the kind of implications that this regional has. And as you look around and you're like, oh, okay, let's see if Murray State can do. Let's see, what UTSA can do. Maybe we can have some Cinderella stories heading to Omaha, and those are always fun. Okay, what's the reality? And the reality is two teams that not only could get to the College World Series on their own are having to eliminate one of them to get there. And it's going to be really fun this weekend in Fayetteville.
Hey, Alyssa, I think we all kind of agree that Zach Root starts game one of this Super Regional. Who do you have starting game two, and then what do you see the role for Jimenez? I know he started game one of the Regional. Does he go back to the bullpen, or do you save him if you need somebody to start game three?
I think you save him potentially for game three, but you really just see how game two is going. And I think what we saw out of Gage Wood gives people a lot of confidence that if you go Zach Root game one and Gage Wood game two, you might not even need a game three. And that's what you're looking at right now, that yes, you want to set yourself up for success in a game three if you need it. But quite frankly, I think you have power on the mound in the first two games where you might not even need a game three. And that's what you do is you look at, okay, you start Gage Wood, did you bring in Geckel? Do you get Jimenez to close it out for you in game two? Do you make him a bullpen guy? That's a big question mark, but that's what I think you do. Like you said, Zach Root game one, you go Gage Wood game two, and then you see what happens if you need a guy in game three. But I was just really impressed with the way that both of those guys are pitching right now. You just have to come with firepower early, and you can't just only plan for, hey, if there is a game three, what are we doing? You plan for, hey, we might not even need it with the way that these guys are pitching.
One of my favorite stories about this year's team, Alyssa, is Reese Robinette. And I think there was a thought that once Gabe Frazier was healthy, that he would be back at second base, and you'd have Kojal back at first base, and Reese back to being an afterthought on this team, which he has been. I mean, Reese has been an afterthought for 2 years, even coming off the bench 2 years ago, and then last year relegated to being a red shirt because there just was no way to crack the lineup. And then this year, an afterthought until they absolutely needed him. Now you can't get him out of the lineup. And I love that aspect to this because it shows the depth and it shows the loyalty that I think this program's about.
Yeah, I remember when we were talking about him in the press box before one of those midweek games a few weeks ago when he was in. And then I remember being like, oh, my God, Reese Robinette. I think he had a home run or he went 2 for 3 that game. Just a really good game where it's like a statement. Okay, it was almost like he has convinced, and Davis said this, there are guys that it's just like they're playing because they're making me take them out of the line. Like, we dare you to take me out of the lineup. I'm playing so well. And that's what Reese Robinette has really done. And he's played really well that you just don't want to take him, and it's working. So why would you change anything? And that's not a knock to Frazier or anything else, but the way that things are going, they're working right now. Don't mess it up. Don't try to adjust things or change things because this is the way you want to be playing when it matters the most. And then you make a really good point about just dedication and patience. I mean, we saw him kind of almost be like, oh, is this the next up-and-comer when he was a freshman? And then he kind of fell off a little bit and battled a little bit of injury, but just really trying to get his footing back again with the game, get comfortable at the plate. We're seeing it now, but he could have easily left. He could have maybe felt like he didn't have a place here. He didn't have a role here. He didn't know exactly what his baseball career would look like. Maybe I go somewhere else where I know that I'm going to be playing. But I think that says a lot to the faith that he not only has in the program and just wanting to be a Razorback, but the faith in guys like Nate Thompson who can help continue to develop him and help him turn into the player we're now seeing. And that's, I mean, if there's a success story from start to finish and his story's not even over, I mean, you look at a guy like him for sure.
What do you think about the end of the Oklahoma dynasty? I mean, 4 in a row is amazing.
How about that?
Yeah. And I mean, just Look, I mean, it's like the things in Oklahoma City for a reason. It's not just because Oklahoma is amazing. They got that stadium, of course, but these things do kind of go together.
Yeah, they do. And they have for a really long time. And you just have to show so much respect and tip your cap to Patty Gasso and what she's done. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to say this is an end of a dynasty. It's just the end of a streak. There is so much talent that they continue to bring in there that, you know, not all good things come to an end, but this one does. And I think it's good for the sport. I really do. And that's not a knock at Oklahoma. But you look at a program like Texas Tech, who's now competing for a national title against Texas. They knocked off Florida State in the Super Regionals in Tallahassee. They won that Super in 2 games. They have a stud in the circle who is just phenomenal. She's like the female Shohei Ohtani. She can hit and she can pitch. It's just good for the game. It is good for the game of college softball to not see a team like OU just win it all the time. And it feels like, hey, you can get and be as good as a program as you want to be, but you'll never be on OU's level. And it felt that way. Really, the last couple of years, it felt that way. But you knock off Goliath, and now you're realizing that there is so much talent in this sport. You're not just the UCLAs who are going to win it every year or the OUs who are going to win it every year. Texas now is competing, I think, for the national title for the 3rd time in 4 or 5 years. So that program has grown a lot since they beat Arkansas in the Supers in 2021. It's just good for the sport. But at the same time, you can be grateful for what the sport and the growth and what Patty Gasso did to want to make young women play this game and make it as competitive as it is. So I think it's kind of a twofold. It's a little bit of a win-win unless you're an OU fan and then you just don't get a title this year, but it's okay.
BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball season is in full swing and we're into the NBA and NHL playoffs, and BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, and scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With the largest selection of odds on everything from the MLB, NBA, NHL, and UFC, BetOnline remains the best online source for all your sports wagering information. In between games, head over to the BetOnline casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. Bet online, the game starts here.